Okay, go to Google now and put in money for college, okay? Google that term. You know what you're going to get? Almost a billion websites. I got 959 million websites. Wow! So now you've solved your problem of paying for college, right? Boy, that's nuts. And actually, if you look at that list, the first couple pages, they're all people trying to sell you money. Get a loan, borrow money, or scholarships maybe sometime. Or people that, even I was looking at some of the things there and the examples they have. Oh, the best things you should know about paying for college. It's all how to buy money. It tells you nothing about tuition or anything like that. Or here I put in pay for college. Okay, how are you going to pay for college? Okay, I got 757 million. That's 757 million websites. Man, that's why it's information overload. I mean, it's going to cause more problems than you think. It takes asking the right questions, and that's what it is. I mean, we want to pay for something, we put the question in, and that's the wrong question. Man, why the hell are you paying so much for college? Maybe that's the question. Here, look at this chart. This is from a documentary I saw a little while ago. It's called Ivory Tower, okay? And it's about the cost of college. And they have a chart that's very instructive from 1978. Okay, the cost of college has increased over 1,000%. 1,000%. Okay, numbers and numbers, you don't know what the hell that is. I don't either. But compared to what else? Okay, healthcare increased 600%, and that's going crazy too. But this is twice as crazy. Paying for college is twice as crazy as paying for healthcare. Okay, now something more normal, food, how much did that increase? Just a little over 200%. So if college tuition increased over 1,000%, and food over the same period of time only increased 200%. Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. Now, if cars increased the same amount of money as college tuition did, the average car now would cost $80,000. $80,000, not 20 or whatever the heck it is now. $80,000. And see what we're doing for college tuition. We're saying, well, gosh, I'll just get a loan. That's why when you Google paying for college, they tell you how to get a loan, how to get money to pay for college. So how am I going to get a loan for college? So 99% of Americans just figure out a way to get $80,000 to buy a car because they want a car, right? That's crazy, So, and it's really because everybody now could get a loan to pay for college, no questions asked. So somebody gives you a price, like if they gave you a price for a car of $80,000 and said, hey, I'll lend you money, don't worry about it. I don't care what your background is, credit check or anything. Here's 80 grand, pay me whenever. But you're going to pay me, you little sucker, and get the car. That's what we're doing with college. Giving people, no matter who the heck they are. So what's happening now, look at this chart, is the line on top on the right in 1914, you see that student loan debt now is higher than auto loan debt, credit card debt, or home equity debt. It's the highest amount of debt that we have in the country now. And look where it was just in 2004, it was the lowest amount. So student loan debt went from the lowest amount of debt that we carried to the highest amount just in 20 years. I mean, that's crazy. I'm sorry, 10 years. That's amazing. And so look at what the person is carrying when they get out of college. Look at that line in debt. In 1993, it was down about $10,000, and now it's $30,000. So you're graduating with that. And people with that kind of debt, man, that changes your whole life. Now you have to get a job you hate to pay off the debt. Now you have to, change your whole life. Now you can't buy a car, even if it was only $20,000, not $80,000. Now you can't get married. Now you can't buy a house. Now you can't do all these other things most young people do because they have this debt. Look at now what's happening to young people who go into debt. Okay, from 2005 to 2012, this data is the increase in earnings. That's the bottom line. So young people, when they get out of college to get a job, their earnings, their income has gone down. The average income has gone down, since 2005. So they're graduating from college and earning less money, but look how much their debt went up. So it seems crazy. So it seems the trick is, man, what the hell are we paying so much? Here's the name of the game I see. Number one, college increased tuition by 1,000%, okay? But wages to pay for that has went down. They went down. And, okay, step two, you don't have money to pay for college, okay? Now, people will lend you money no matter who you are to go to college. So you go and say, hey, I guess I need college, and it costs this much, I'll just get the money. Okay, so you get the money from the bank and the people give you money. You give all the money to the college, okay? You graduate from college, hopefully, maybe not. But no matter what happens, the college has the money, you have the debt. And so what kind of economic opportunity is this for you? You got to pay that money back. You know, the college doesn't care. They got the money already. You got to pay the bank back. So is this a good investment, higher education? Man, to me, it's a good investment for the colleges because they're getting you to borrow money to give to them and they're home free once you leave, and you're not. So what do you do about this stuff? I mean, that's the important thing, you know. And gosh, I mean, I think what you got to do is open your mind about opportunities. Well, you know, what are your options in life? You got to consider more options. You go to Google and you're going to get what everybody else is doing. You know, when you're trying to figure out how to pay for college, yeah, you won't understand the obvious. Because look what other countries are doing. What's going on in the world for higher education? We're not the only country in the world, the only country with college students. Look at this chart here. This is a chart that shows you the affordability of college, okay, in some major countries like us. You know, these are all the, you know, the guys that belong to the same, you know, country club as we do, you know, the rich countries. You know. And what is the percentage of income that they pay for college? Okay, in our country, look way down on the bottom, you see US, 52%. So that means when you go to college, the average family is paying half of their income to pay for college. What are other countries doing? Denmark, 2%. So they're not paying 50% of their income going to college. The average family household only pays 2%. Norway, 2%. Sweden, 3%. France, 3%. Germany, 4%. Finland, 6%. Netherlands, 11%. It gets a little higher a little bit. Australia is the only people close to us, and Japan is right on our tail. You know. But look at all these countries in Europe that you could go to college to for just a fraction of what we pay here. And these are the best universities in the world. That's what's neat. I mean, you're not going to Joe's College. These are universities that are older than Harvard and more established, and they're world-renowned universities. Now, see, as a percentage of income, look at this graph, because this may show it a little more. This is a graph I took the data from that other chart to show you what the average family income is and what that equates to in college tuition. So like in Denmark, they have the average family income of $44,000, which is close to us, 2%. So they're paying $887 a year for tuition. Okay, you go down to USA, we're paying $22,000 per family a year for tuition. So you could go to college in Denmark for less than $1,000. Look at all those European countries. For $1,000, $2,000 tuition is a lot. And we're paying $22,000. That's a tenth of what we're... There's something wrong with that. And when I first saw this data, I said, well, maybe we make a lot more than all these countries. So it doesn't mean that much to us. They're poor. Okay, look at this next chart. Nah, we're not the richest kid on the block either. We're number 5 in household income. Look at Norway, Sweden, Denmark. These countries that pay a hell of a lot less, they're making even more money than we are. So it's not a matter because we have so much money, that's why we're going to pay so much for college. No! These other countries, you know, are even making more money and they're paying less for college. Now, something's got to be wrong here, right? And I don't know if you and I are going to live long enough to change it. But a way to change things is really take advantage of the opportunity. Okay? So that means, look at this chart. Man, now even if you have to live in another country, look at here. Okay, in Spain, see this chart here? It tells non-European residents. Okay, I took this is from the European community, because European countries now there's like 20 some of them. They're all over. And so to go to college in Spain, the annual tuition is $660. Okay. Now, even if you live there in Spain while you're going to college, it only costs another $5,000. So you're paying $5,000, roughly a little under $6,000 a year for tuition, room, and board. Okay. Now, in the United States, if you went to a state school, so if you live in Maryland, you went to the University of Maryland, and what would that cost you? About $20,000. If you went to a private school, it'd be $40,000. So look at the money you save. I mean, it's incredible. Do you want to pay $40,000 a year or $5,000 a year? So $5,000, that's a $20,000 bill. At $40,000, 44, so it's $160,000 of debt if you take a loan. Now that's crazy. I mean, it's like that for all these other countries too. It's for non-European resident. If you were born in Spain and a resident there, it'd be even cheaper than the $600. France, actually, it's only $200 tuition in France. I'd like to go to the Sorbonne in Paris, and it costs you $8,000, $9,000 to live. But man, $10,000 if you go to the best university in the world. And actually, there's a young man who helped me with all this data. He was terrific. He goes to school in Europe. Sefer de Sus, and because all this data and not knowing the culture or whatever, he was a wonderful help and got me a whole bunch of data to try to understand this. And him and his European college students say, God, he doesn't understand why kids in this country are nuts for paying so much. And the world is becoming so small that, man, why not? No, okay, now. So how do you take advantage of this? Hey, I don't know French, right? I don't know whatever they speak in Denmark, Danish, right? German, I don't know Germany, German. Doesn't matter. There are now, listen to this, more colleges that teach courses in English. See, in the European community now, you have these 20 countries, okay? Now, they're like one country. So Europe is trying to be like America with all the states, and so we're all, it costs nothing to go to, another state in the United States. Well, they're trying to make Europe like that. So everything in Europe, you can go, you don't need a passport, you don't need anything. If you live in one country in Europe to go to another country, there's no tariffs if you're changing goods and stuff like that. So they're trying to make the university system like that. So all universities, it doesn't matter. They all have the same kind of system, and you could change universities anywhere in Europe. And so what they're doing, though, is teaching more courses in English. So that means English is becoming the common language in going to college in Europe, anywhere. So for Americans, that's great because we're ignorant for languages. We only know English. Now we can have no language problem going to any of these universities in all of Europe, not only just England or Ireland, no, France, Germany, Greece, Portugal, all these schools now are concentrating on having degree programs all in English, and not only to attract foreign students like from America, but actually to make it easier and one language in Europe too for higher education. Because most kids, if they're going on to higher education, so many of them do that. And now here's a report I found for the Institute of International Education. See, this is the kind of things you're going to have to Google for now, not just how to pay for college. Where the hell are you going to college? Institute of International Education. Now, there's about 300,000 students a year from that study in Europe from overseas, okay, in English. Now, but there's also 43,000 that are there getting degrees. They're getting diplomas, graduating from European universities. Why? Because it's like 10% of what it costs here. That's why people are not stupid. So how do you sitting there find out about this stuff? That's the key. That's the problem. Well, there's a database. The European community is starting to market this stuff. So what's great about it? Now, here's the database. studyineurope.eu/in-English. So that's studyineurope.eu for European community. Now, and that database has 13,000 programs that you could take in all these countries, all in English. You don't even don't have to worry about what you're going to. So you go get a degree in engineering, but it's taught in English and it only costs $1,000 a year. You go get a degree in accounting and it's in English, or entrepreneurship, or biology, or urban planning, sociology, law, anything, all in English for a fraction of what us crazy Americans are paying for here. And you're down to almost no debt either, too. So here's the kind of thing. So you got 13,000 programs in English. Like in France alone, in France, there's 1,897 programs in France at all their universities that are taught in English. See, they record all this, so you have a nice little database. You never find this in Google. You have to know what to ask for. That's the problem with Google. You have to ask the right questions. Okay, here's one for Italy. Wouldn't you love to go to Italy? Oh man, sitting cafes out in the piazza or whatever. There's over 1,100 programs. The Czech Republic, that's my grandparents came from. Czechoslovakia, there's 352. So my kids could go there and study in the homeland and don't even have to study. So again, anything. You want to study nursing, technology, medicine, mathematics. I mean, again, these some of the best universities in the world. God, I mean, it's just an incredible opportunity in my mind. And also, there's some neat stuff you could study there too. Like, listen, wine business administration in Germany, free. The whole degree program is free. Wine business administration. See, the tourism is a bigger, economic opportunity, in Europe, and so they have courses in it. Brussels has business and technology. $2,500 a year to study business and technology. Portugal, sustainable tourism management. Man, tourism businesses worldwide wouldn't be great to, you come home and want to work for Hyatt, but yes, I have a degree in tourism management from Portugal, So now you're a world international travel, even though that, you have no idea how to speak a word of Portuguese, Here's what I thought would be. They have so many American studies programs. Now, wouldn't it be that, like, go to Poland for $5,000, $5,600 a year, and get a degree in American studies? Man, you'd ace that sucker, I hope. At least you'd have an advantage. It's sort of like the people from China coming here studying Mandarin. Or this is what I really love. In Ireland, where but Ireland could you get a degree in bar management? Man, now that's cool. I got my bachelor's in bar management. Man, you imagine Ireland, I don't know if you've been to Dublin, man, the pubs, you throw a rock out in the town square and you hit 50 of them, So that would be a great experience, and homework must be a killer over there. Or even like sports-related degrees. I mean, God, there's 67 programs in English, sports-related, like sports management and stuff like that. International sports management and business, gosh, who would ever think? I mean, fun stuff to do. And also, even though you're not a member of the European community, you're a non-member, there are still scholarships. So that's why you pay next to nothing, plus there's scholarships. Here's a database that I found for scholarships and grants for studying abroad. Okay, that's studyabroadfunding.org. Studyabroadfunding.org. And a couple other things about going to school in Europe. Man, healthcare is free more in most of these countries, right? It's not here. What am I going to do with healthcare? Man, it's free, man. We were traveling with the family in England, and a kid on a skateboard, my boy, broke his arm, went in the hospital. The last thing they did was get our information that was going out of the hospital. not going into the hospital. That's the last thing. I mean, in Czechoslovakia, it was the same way. Man, it just, the most expensive thing in the doctor was the cab ride getting to the doctor. You know, the hospital, the doctor, and everything was next to nothing. You know, I mean, they just, you know, they have a different clock over there. You know, and it's neat to do know about. Okay, so now to learn about this opportunity, you know. The programs you want to know about, or the websites, is the Institute of International Education, or IIE.org. That's a good database that has these studies about people studying overseas. Okay, the other thing we talked about was the database of all these programs, you know, the 13,000 programs in English, and that's studyineurope.eu. And then also the database on scholarships and grants, and, you know, financial, you know, paying for it in other ways, you know, with free money, and that's studyabroadfunding.org. And here I put on the end of this 2 interviews we've done, and actually Zafir interviewed these 2 European students and what they think about studying in Europe and how nuts we are in the country. So listen to them, because it gives you some feeling of on the ground, how fun it is to be in a foreign country, how important it is to expand your mind, and how much more valuable you will be as a citizen of the United States or a world citizen to have that experience behind you. I mean, so many people in our country don't even have passports or whatever, and the world is getting so small. I mean, now in business I deal with people all over the world all the time, you know, and so to get that even, you know, if you're going back at 40 or 50 years old to get a degree in something, why not go over there? Yeah, if you put away 10 grand to do it, you could probably go over there and do it all, and you don't have to get a loan, and you have enough money, you know, to live on while you're doing it. So it's a great opportunity, man. And just the biggest thing in life, I think, is knowing your options, and be careful with Google. That's not going to show you options. That's just going to show you what everybody else is doing.
If I were you, I would go study in Europe because, firstly, mainly because of the tuition fees, how you can save so much money and still be able to visit your family, every holiday, and you'd still save money on tuition fees. Another reason is because it's traveling, and traveling is good. You meet lots of different people, you get to visit places and get to see completely different cultures that you never thought you'd see. Yet, because people are generally quite accepting, you will feel at home. Well, you'll feel comfortable here, and you'll just get to have the most amazing experience, probably, of your lives, because the independent and the actual movement you have to do to get out of home, to get out of your home continent even, and to make that move, which is quite difficult. But you wouldn't regret it. You definitely wouldn't. None of the American people that came to my university in England regretted it. They loved it, in fact, and they came back for holidays. And because of the free movement around Europe, you could go visit so cheaply any city in Europe for a weekend, well, not a day, I wouldn't do that for a day, but I mean, hostels are so cheap, you could just go anywhere. It would be great. So yeah, come to Europe.
Hello guys, I think that studying in Europe is a great opportunity because first of all there are world-class universities with really good levels and professors and career opportunities following that. But I think Europe in itself has so many countries that are really interesting, that all have programs in English that you can study at, and you get to discover new countries, probably for a portion of the price you would pay if you were studying in the US. Some countries are even free. You can also get free healthcare if you go in a country like the UK or France, for example. I did my master's degree in London in the UK, and I really had a great experience. London is an amazing city. I got the chance to travel within the country, meet people from all around the world, had a great social life, lots of things to do. And as I said, you can travel in many countries as long as you're in the EU and in the Schengen area. Then you don't need a visa. You can go around very easily. And I think, the first universities were in Europe, and it has such a huge cultural background and heritage, and you can great food and very interesting places, and I think it's great to discover new area. Oh,
Okay, what if I told you you could get a master's degree at some of the best universities in the world for only $1,000? Man, people are paying $150,000 or more to get a master's degree in this country. Man, it's just crazy. And see, nobody tells you about your options for this. I mean, if you go into Google and you Google something, okay, pay for a master's degree. Okay, you're going to get 88 million websites. 88 million websites, and they're all mostly, for-profit universities trying to sell you their master's degree. That'll cost you $40, $50, $60, $80,000 or whatever it is. Or even the articles I read when I did a search like that, they're all just telling you about, traditional ways to pay for a master's degree. And it's just it's nuts because you don't have to. The world is bigger than just the United States. You want a master's degree? So many people think, well, God, I might as well just go here like everybody else does. But why? Teaching and knowledge is knowledge, and if you get to learn about sociology or law, urban planning, whatever it is, medicine, engineering, technology, all the developed countries have the same, And what's neat, especially in Europe, they're teaching in English only. You get complete degrees. You don't need a language. You don't have to spend French to get a degree in France from the Sorbonne or some famous university, or Germany. You don't have to know German. All the courses are in English and you get a degree. More and more courses in Europe are being taught in English because that's the language of the future. I mean, here's a report that you could see go to IIE.org. That's the Institute of International Education. English top master programs in Europe. See, they tell you about their growing, supply and what they're doing in all the European countries. There's like 20 some of them now that are offering courses in English only, not only attract overseas students, but also to make it easier for people within the common market or the European Union to go to colleges anywhere. Because English is becoming a international language. You know that. I mean, I went to, Shanghai last year, and I was studying Mandarin a couple of years before. And I get to Shanghai, I go to the coffee shop, and I'm struggling with my 5 Mandarin words trying to order coffee. And the Chinese guy looks at me and says, "Hey, speak English. What do you want?" That's what the world is coming to, and that's what's so neat about us. Living in America, we already know it. These other people have to learn it. And so that's why we could use their resources because they're picking up on English too all over the world. Like, I didn't need English in Shanghai, Mandarin in Shanghai. And I just spoke English. Everyone does. And the world is becoming so small. The opportunities are all over. So even if you're going to work back here in the States, you're dealing with all over the world. Also, it gives you a perspective. There's so many great benefits studying overseas that expand the mind, things like that. So there are now 5,581 programs in Europe that speak English. These are master's programs. And look at this chart here. But how they've grown. See, they've grown over the past. Netherlands, it's grown. They have like 800-900 programs right there. Every one of these countries have grown the number of English programs. And this is a couple years out of date, so they're even growing more now. And here's what they say in this report. Most international education experts agree that international student mobility will likely increase dramatically at the master's level. And the development of English-taught programs in non-English language countries is an important driver for this. God, The race to develop competitive master programs that are attractive to both European and international audience has made English taught master programs one of the closest watched trends in European higher education. Wow! And so that's an opportunity for us. Why is that an opportunity? Because it's cheap. They're cheaper there. Look at the affordability of going to college in Europe versus here. See, we're just nuts in this country. Look at now. This is a list of major countries and the percentage of your annual income that will be spent on college if you go to college. In the United States, 50%. So the average family going to college spends 50% of their income paying tuition and expenses for college. Look at Denmark, 2%. That's only 2%, not 50%. Norway, 2%. Sweden, 3% of their income, not 50% like here. Germany, 4% of the income, not 50% like here. I mean, that's crazy, isn't it? So right now, there's like 304 students, U.S. students that are studying, in Europe, and there are 18,920 students getting their master's degree in Europe right now. So you have 19,000 U.S. students figured this out already. Now this is going to grow, and actually for undergraduate, it's only 15,000. So you could get an undergraduate degree too, but there's more people getting graduate degrees. I guess younger, they're a little afraid to travel or something. That'll change. And even PhDs, 7,000. So this is the most amount of American students over Europe. It's because of they're taking master's programs. And see, look at the price. I mean, this is incredible. Forget UK. That's $9,000. That's still a lot cheaper than us, for a master's program. But France, $346 tuition for the whole year. I'm sorry. That's the number of programs. The European. For non-European resident tuition, I screwed up here, it's $300. So the price of going to school in a master's program in France is $300. Man, I talked to some kids going to Stanford, and it's like $160,000 for 2 years. That's just nuts. $300, that's it. And here, so even if you live there, it'll cost you $8,000-9,000. So what the heck? So $8,000-9,000, you're in Paris or France or something doing this. Same in Germany, Spain, Switzerland, Netherlands, Belgium. God, why are we so crazy in this country? And actually, a young college student from France helped me with all this data for the European market. Zephyr Desos, he worked like hell and got all this data for me to help make sense out of this. And that's what's neat. And I want to thank him again for doing this. But here, look at this data too, how crazy we are. I mean, we're one of the top country ripping off college students. Look, we're number 3 there. Australia is about with us. Then Singapore is, right up there. And the UK is pretty much up there too for university fees. And then it just starts dropping, man. I mean, France, Malaysia, Indonesia, well, a lot of these are underdeveloped, so maybe not as interesting. But look at, for the developed in Europe, it's amazing. And people just don't know. They don't know their options, so they don't take advantage of this. And that's a pity. And a lot of people say, well, we have these myths, I think, too. I found this article about myths about studying, getting a graduate degree overseas. And it says, U.S. degrees are more valuable. That's a myth. Okay, look what they say in this article. Many international institutions rank higher than U.S. universities in global rankings. Says the student Rachel Hauer of Ann Arbor, Michigan, said via email that she considered the University of California at Berkeley, Arizona State University, University of Maryland, and the University of Leibniz in Germany for her master's degree in engineering, but mainly choose a university in the Netherlands because of its global reputation. See, I mean, the world is small. We're communicating all over the world, and your customers and opportunities are all over. It doesn't matter. Just look at all the foreign people here. It's the same way everywhere else. Here's this young woman also said by email that the opportunity to integrate her engineering degree with emphasis on entrepreneurship, sustainability, and international travel finalized her decision. Man, I mean, that's what's neat. You get so much more out of going to school overseas than you would here. Classes are not the same. You think they're the same? No. That's why you're learning new ways to learn. Everything you can learn that is different is an opportunity, because then it helps you put together pieces of the puzzle differently. We don't know the answers, and that's why it's hard to even ask the questions. So the more you get an expansion of your mind, the easier, I think, the better you are in being able to solve problems, whether it's this country, the world, or whatever. Also, a myth that the international graduate programs are a huge financial burden. Man, that's nonsense. That's definitely not. They're a fraction. They know that education is important in these countries. They don't turn it over to the private sector or give you free money that you have to pay back from the government forever. Because most people that go to graduate school here, then they have to get jobs they hate in order to pay back the money. They can't get married because they got this big student loan. They can't do all these other things because they owe too much money. They're stopping their life. They can't buy a house, can't buy a car. And that's because of this money. So if you go to find these programs, you go to studyineurope.eu/masters. Studyineurope.eu/masters. And you'll see, look at 22,000 programs. 22,000 programs, on that. I mean, now here's another portal called mastersportal.eu. Now this is English and non-English, but that may be helpful to find something. And here, if you got a minute, you may want to look at this video. I have of an interview of a woman who she graduated from a college in California, and she was looking at graduate school. She wanted to do international development work, and she was looking at like Berkeley and things like that, and she figured it's going to cost her over $100,000 in loans to get that degree. Now here she wants to go out and help people in the world. So she's going to think, boy, she has to go out and get $100,000 in loans to get this degree. Instead, she went to Kenya. Cost her a total of $5,000 a year to go to school. $5,000. Now Kenya, that's where she wanted to do some work too. So now she's got a degree from a country where she wants to work in. And it's all in English. The opportunities are just so much greater. Why be another kid from the States in a college from the States who knows nothing about the world? And plus they're a little stupid because they paid so much money for a degree. When they get one $5,000 and be right in the ground floor of where all that stuff is happening. Just same way in Europe, man, you could get degrees in wine, sports management, all these neat things that you never even thought of that they have. Anything, graduate degrees, sociology, computer science, engineering, there's nothing. I mean, we're all, look at half the products you get are from overseas now, and the world is so small. And even if you don't want to work overseas later, you become more important here, because that means you know more about the world, and every business, every organization has to know how to deal in the world more this way. And so if you're saving $100,000, $200,000, it's stupid not to. I mean, look at the cost of an MBA here. You go to get an MBA in Spain. Man, that sounds cool. For $9,000. Look at the cost of MBAs in the USA. $160,000, $150,000, $147,000. All these big, man, they get what they get, And the cost of graduate schools or MBA, in 2007, the average tuition was like $32,000. 7 years later, it went up to $55,000. Now, if that tuition went up the same as general inflation, that tuition should not have been $55,000. It should have been $37,000. But no. It went up to $55,000. You're paying an extra almost $20,000 or more because the schools could get it. And why can they get it? Because if you go to a graduate school and get accepted, you can get a loan to pay for it. It doesn't matter what your income is. It doesn't matter anything. They give you money, give you a loan, student loan, sure, no problem. And then you get that loan from the financial institution. You give it to the college because that's what they say they need. And then they have the money. Maybe, maybe not. You get the degree, you graduate. They have your money at the school, but you have the debt. And you got to pay that financial institution off forever, and it stops you from doing things in life. That's crazy. Why not go to Spain and have no debt, have more fun, and start your life a hell of a lot earlier by having a lot more fun? Oh, here's 2 little more videos you should look. These are young people who talk about going to school in Europe, and they're really helpful because they give you a little more understanding of what life is like over there if you're considering about how important it is and what you're missing by just being like everybody else. That's the problem. You become Googleized.
If I were you, I would go study in Europe because, firstly, mainly because of the tuition fees, how you can save so much money and still be able to visit your family, every holiday, and you'd still save money on tuition fees. Another reason is because it's traveling, and traveling is good. You meet lots of different people, you get to visit places and get to see completely different cultures that you never thought you'd see. Yet, because people are generally quite accepting, you will feel at home. Well, you'll feel comfortable here, and you'll just get to have the most amazing experience, probably, of your lives, because the independent and the actual movement you have to do to get out of home, to get out of your home continent even, and to make that move, which is quite difficult. But you wouldn't regret it. You definitely wouldn't. None of the American people that came to my university in England regretted it. They loved it, in fact, and they came back for holidays. And because of the free movement around Europe, you could go visit so cheaply any city in Europe for a weekend, well, not a day, I wouldn't do that for a day, but I mean, hostels are so cheap, you could just go anywhere. It would be great. So yeah, come to Europe.
Hello guys. I think that studying in Europe is a great opportunity because, first of all, there are world-class universities with really good levels and professors and career opportunities following that. But I think Europe in itself has so many countries that are really interesting, that all have programs in English that you can study at, and you get to discover new countries, probably for a portion of the price you would pay if you were studying in the US. Some countries are even free. You can also get free healthcare if you go in a country like the UK or France, for example. I did my master's degree in London in the UK, and I really had a great experience. London is an amazing city. I got the chance to travel within the country, meet people from all around the world, had a great social life, lots of things to do. And as I said, you can travel in many countries as long as you're in the EU and in the Schengen area. Then you don't need a visa. You can go around very easily. And I think, the first universities were in Europe, and it has such a huge cultural background and heritage, and you can great food and very interesting places. And I think it's great to discover new area. Oh,
How much for a cookie?
You don't pay.
Just like St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We freely share our research with hospitals across America, and no family pays St. Jude for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because all a family should worry about is helping their child live.
Give thanks for the healthy kids in your life, and give to those who are not. Donate now at stjude.org, or shop wherever you see the St. Jude logo.
I got the cool.
At MedStar Health, we're making it easier for you to stay healthy.
We're there when you need us, where you need us.
With primary and specialty care,
rehabilitation, and urgent care.
And new ways to schedule doctor's appointments.
We're bringing expert care close to home.
We even come to you when needed.
New locations.
More services.
We're growing to keep the community healthy.
That's what neighbors do.
This video is really for people who signed up for our service and want to get started and not sure where to go. And that's understandable because there's so much available. But also other people who haven't joined the service, that's fine. You get a lot out of this too because you can find this stuff too. It's just going to take you a lot more work, that's all. So don't worry about it. And you'll learn some stuff. But see, there's like 17,000 programs the government has that gives out free money and help every year. And it increases every year, no matter who's in town. They're talking about budget cuts. Don't believe them. Sure, something will cut. The overall money is going to be growing every year. Now, the problem is it's not in one place. There's not one place you can go to get all the money. You can't call one office or whatever. And once in a while that does happen, and tell you the truth, when that happens, they're the people I put in my infomercial because I make it look easy, but it's not easy. You're going to have to go, door by door almost, trying to find something. It's sort of like, looking for a date. You just can't ask one girl and you got married for life or a guy or whatever. No, it usually takes a trial and error method, and that's what this is all about. And I've been studying this for 35 years, and I realize that what I've done is boil it down to the best places that are there. And our database is only government programs. You go on Google, you're going to get 50 million programs. Our programs are just ones that will help you. Okay, now here's where to start. Okay, you go to letsgo.com. Okay, and right on the front page there, you will see up on top there's a little drop down for members section. Go down to the members section and you'll see on the right hand column 25 of the best programs in America. Okay, there's 25 programs. That's the best place to start. Click on that and you'll see a map of the United States. When you click on the map, your state, wherever you are, what we have there are all the contact points for your state on where to get the money and help. We show you the income limits. Some have income limits, some have no income limits. Doesn't matter, you could be a millionaire and apply for these. Other income limits could be like up to about $40,000 or $50,000 for a family. That's what the low income things are. But they're for medium income, high income, any no income requirements at all. And these top 25s are like, money to help you pay for your student loans, free phones and cell phones, money for groceries, $8,000 to train for a new job, missing and unclaimed money that may be waiting for you. Free prescription drugs, no matter what income, you probably get free prescription drugs too. Childcare, transportation, job training money, extra spending money for seniors, like $1,500 for that. Or how about free money to pay your rent, your mortgage, or your utility bills? $5,000 for your family of extra spending money. These are all the programs that are listed there. Who to contact? Go through the list. Even if you think you make more than it says there, apply anyway, because there's always exceptions. I mean, that's why, you remember how many times the government screwed you over, right? Well, give it a chance to screw up somebody else in your favor. That's why just figure out the system. It doesn't, most of these applications are not complicated. People say grant applications are nonsense. All the applications on those 25 programs will be 3 or 4 pages, fill out the blanks. That's it. So go through it. Sure, you may have the wrong thing and have to do it again or whatever, but life is like that. Man, trying to call Comcast is a nightmare. So you have to learn to use the system. So that's the best place to start, because otherwise you'll be walking around for days or hours or whatever and all that kind of stuff. Okay, now after you get through that 25 people, what do you do? Okay, see what we have, you go back to letsgo.com. Up on the left-hand corner, there's Ask Lesgo. Click that Ask Lesgo button and you'll see free research help. We will answer 100 questions a day for you, because nothing is better than asking an expert. I've been studying this for 35 years. I've helped millions of people. I've written 100 books on this subject. I mean, I really feel I know more than anybody else in the world on this stuff. I may not know everything, and that nobody does. Anybody claims that is stupid. Don't trust them. So I don't know everything, but I tell you the truth, I know more about most things in this government than anybody else does. Okay, so you fill out that little form there, and we'll get back to you. If it takes a day, that's a long time. 2 days is forever. So just hang in there, and then keep asking. Hey, you thought something else? Keep asking. Yeah, that's what it is. Just keep asking. That's what we're there for, because it's easier. Because we could save so much time you have. Run around in circles and not getting the answer. Okay, what do you do next? Okay, go back to letsgo.com because you're waiting for our answer. Okay, now up there's a toolbar of all kinds of things there, and look on the item, the second to the right, called Free Money Search. Click on that, and you'll see a drop down there of blanks. This is where you could search our database for your state. Put in your state what money you're looking for, maybe business or whatever it is, and then you put in your income, about how much you make. There's about 4 or 5 categories, your email address, and just search that, and out will come, a couple hundred programs that are in the database for that. Now, if you're a member, you can see all the details, and that's important to do. So, I mean, this is the best thing to do. I mean, it's going to take some time. Everything takes some time. The problem is, whether you're successful in the first 5 minutes or not, it doesn't matter, because you're learning a system that you're going to use forever. It's not only money. It's help. It's legal help. It's free expertise. It's travel. It's solving a health problem or whatever it is. See, I believe the government is the largest source of research and information and free expertise, but nobody teaches you how to use it. So this is the starting place of how to use it, and after you do this, then you'll be on your way and start learning how to use the system instead of having the system use you. And one more other thing, remember, start looking at some of our videos on YouTube/Matthew Lesko 70. Go there, look at the videos, then you have a question about anything we're talking about there, then you come back to letsgo.com and ask us. See, because you're a member, you can ask us anything on that. The other people just have to look at it and guess. Not you. Free cars for Christmas! Isn't that a great headline? Well, you just can't go to the mall and sit in Santa's lap and get one, but there are dozens, even hundreds of organizations around the country that give out cars for people, because see, if you don't have a car to get to work, man, you're really in deep doo-doo, aren't you? So that's why the government supports it, nonprofit organizations support it, so people who need cars, either fixed up or new cars or whatever, to make sure they can get to work. That's what it's for. And there's even one of these organizations that's called Cars for Christmas, and they're out in the Midwest or whatever. They have a bunch of offices out there, and they also help, Cars for Heroes. See, I mean, this is vets coming back, and they don't have a car to get to work and things like that. So that's why if you're struggling with finances and you need your car to get to work, check out one of these sites. And they're all over the country. There's a couple of clearinghouses that keep track of a lot of these. One is called Working Cars for Working Families. So, I mean, that's it. See, they will make sure your car's working. It could be a free car. It could be a loan to get a car if you have bad credit and you can't get even a car loan anywhere else. They have these kinds of programs, where they lend you money because you can't get money anywhere else for a car. And they have reconditioned cars, they do, and they really take good care of people. And I've interviewed a bunch of these people. Here's another one called Ways to Work. .org. The other one is workingcarsforworkingfamilies.org, and this is waystowork.org. And like I say, they're very helpful people. I've talked to them a bunch around the country, one here in town, and also in the northwest area here, or northeast area. I don't even know where the heck I am. I guess Santa's a little foggy today, but Vehicles for Change. And I've interviewed this fellow, and we have an interview on our YouTube channel. So if you want to watch that interview, you can. That's vehiclesforchange.org. And Family Matters of Greater Washington, they're another one that part of that network. And we have an interview with them. Also, if you want to watch that on our YouTube channel, that's Matthew Lesko 70, at YouTube channel. And another place, if you can't find the organizations through the website or whatever, you can always call 211. That's a hotline, 211. Hey, say, hey, my car broke. I'm looking for help to fix it. And I don't have enough money. Or, hey, I don't even have a car and I got to get to work. And it takes me 5 hours to get to work or whatever, the way I have to do. The way I have to do it on public transportation. It's killing me, killing my family or whatever. So ask them about programs. See, they're usually run by nonprofit. They get nonprofit money or they get some government money because all the state Department of Transportations usually have money for this kind of thing too, to fix up cars and to make sure folk get to work. And if transportation is solving a problem, because we don't have a good public transportation in a lot of places around this country. So that's why it's there. So remember, free cars for Christmas from Santa.